kids, is everybody ready? I should say. Do you ever have a bad day? I'm having a good day right now, but sometimes when you wake up in the morning, it's just not a good day. Have you ever had that happen to you? I'm going to read you a story called A Bad, Bad Day. This story is by Kirsten Hall and it's illustrated by Laura Rader. And you know what? Let's find out what happened to make him have a bad, bad day. Because sometimes you just can't help it. Hurry, hurry, out of bed. Hurry. Ouch, I hit my head. Out my window, I see gray. What a day. Uh-oh, a bad, bad day. Oh no. Hurry, hurry, I am late. Where's my breakfast? I can't wait. I spilled my breakfast. I can't fuss. Hurry, 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 there's the bus. Oh no, look how fast he's going. A bad, bad day. We'll take the car. What a day. I got a star. What happened to his day when he got a star? Let's look at his face one more time. He didn't think he was going to have anything happy happen to him. And then he did. And look at his face. Sometimes you have a bad, bad day and it lasts the whole day long. Sometimes it just lasts for a minute. He was having a bad day and then something happened to make it a good day. And he woke up late and then he bumped his head and then he spilled all over. It was just so many bad things happen. And sometimes you have days like that, don't you? Where it just is not a good day. And it's okay to have those kind of days. Do you know what? One thing that could happen if you're having a bad day and then it gets to be a good day, like his day turned out to be a good day. Do you think maybe his mom had been having a bad day too, and that's why he was late, and his mom had to take him to school? What do you think would happen if you were having a bad day and then something good happened? Do you think you could make something for your family or for somebody that you love that would help them have a good day? What are some things that you could do to help somebody have a good day? What do you think? You could help clean up your toys. That would help your mom have a good day. Could you share your toys? That is a great idea. I like that idea a whole lot. Could you make your bed? Yeah. What about eating all of your food? That is a good idea. And, being kind. I like that. If you're kind to people, does that help them have a good day? Maybe even just giving them a hug or a smile and telling them you love them. Would that help somebody have a good day? Yeah, those are great ideas. I love that. Do you know what? We're going to try making something today that might help somebody if they're having a bad day. Now, you know what? I have a song right here, and we're going to sing it. It is a red song. And do you know what? This particular song is an emoji song. We've got a happy face. Oh, and an angry face. And a silly face. And a smoochy face. And then our happy face. Do you know what? Sometimes when you see emojis, people use them all the time. And you know what? We're going to make an emoji craft. Now, another thing that might make somebody happy, especially a mom, is if you got her a flower. And sometimes in the wintertime, there's not any flowers. And you can't always go in your yard. If you went in your yard and picked all your flowers, or you took someone else's flowers, that wouldn't be good, would it? So we're going to try making a yarn flower. Have you ever heard of a yarn flower? And we're going to make an emoji yarn flower. Does that sound kind of fun to try? So what you're going to need for our flower, you're going to need a paper plate, and you're going to need the stem of your flower. Now this stem, is that the color of a flower stem? We're going to need to color it. So we're going to need to color our stem, and we're going to need some yarn. Now I'm going to use some yellow yarn because that's usually the color of emojis, but sometimes emojis can be a different color. So if you have any color of yarn that you have is going to work. And we're going to need a long piece. I'm going to keep pulling this yarn, and we're going to make a really long piece because our yarn flower is going to be long. Okay, oh my goodness, look at all this yarn. That's a lot. So I think we're going to try cutting that off. So I'm going to have a long piece, a long piece of yarn. And we're going to make an emoji flower with all of this long yellow yarn. Yellow yarn. What does yellow yarn start with? Let's look right here. Look. There is, oops, the yellow fell right off. There's a yellow. And look, here's some other things that start with the same sound as yellow, yarn. There's a yak, yelling, yawning. Oh, yawn. Oh. And what's that little yellow thing called? A yoke. Those are all things that start with letter. Do you know what it is? Let's look over here. I'm going to pull it and see if maybe you can figure out which one it is. We're going to see it backwards. We're going to put it right there. Do you think you know? Let's sing the ABC song backwards, and then you can guess it. ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLK JIHGFEDCBA. Now I know my ZYXs. It is time for your guesses. What does it look like? A letter Y. Oh, you're right. Right there's a letter Y, and it is a letter Y. Now let's look at the lowercase y. Do they look kind of the same? They're a little bit the same, aren't they? That is super fun that you knew how to do that. Now, we're not going to write one today, but guess what? You could practice writing you could get on your writing road, and you could practice writing some Y's. Those would be really, really fun to write. A capital Y and a lowercase y. You could write them right there on your writing road, and you could draw something that's yellow. You know what? I'm going to have to draw something. I got to practice because I have an idea of something I want to write. So when you have an idea, sometimes you have to do your idea, don't you? Okay, let's look right here. We're going to do capital Y. It's going to start at the top of the writing road, go down to the middle and come up, and then it's going to have a line right there. Now, lowercase has a slanting line. It starts in the middle and goes under the line, and then it goes in the middle and just goes down and touches it. So it starts with one line at the bottom, and it splits into two lines at the top, doesn't it? Now, do you want to see what I'm going to draw? Let me get yellow, because yellow starts with letter Y. Let me find my yellow one. Yellow starts with letter Y. I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to color the inside of it yellow. Okay. Now, guess what I'm going to put inside of that yellow? Well, on the outside of it, actually. What is this? What do you see when you look outside? A yellow sun. Yeah, yellow. Now, I'm going to turn this sun into an emoji sun. How's that? Now, if you don't want to draw the things on there, you don't have to, but I had a fun idea for an emoji sun. Let's do our emoji flower. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? I think you are really good at drawing. So you know what? I'm going to take my plate. And what does my emoji sun have on it? It has 2 eyes and a smile. What about this emoji? 2 eyes and a smile. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw 2 circle eyes and color them in because I want to make somebody really happy with it. And then I want a great big smile. How's that? Now, I'm not going to color mine yellow because I'm going to do the yellow yarn, but you could color it yellow if you wanted to. Now, how are we going to make the yarn stick on it? This is the tricky part, and you're going to need some scissors. Now, before we use the scissors and I show you how to do that, we've got to take our stick, and you know what we need to do? We need to color our stick. We're going to color our stick, and I'm going to color my stick. I'm going to get out green because green is the color of a stem on a flower, right? And I'm going to take this stem and I am going to color it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to color it green. It's kind of hard to find green sticks. Now, if you don't have one of these, you could even eat a popsicle or a creamsicle or some kind of ice cream on a stick and save the stick to use. You could use a green straw for a stem. You could even make a paper stem. Okay, this side is green. I'm going to turn it around and get this side all green. Okay, this side's green. Got to color this side. Are you coloring yours? I'll bet you're doing a really good job. Oh, look, we just about have it now. I've got to hold this side so I can color this place, huh? We have to move our fingers around while we're holding on to things, or otherwise they might fall. And if you've got it down on the table, it's kind of easier to color, but I want you to see that it works when we color it. So I'm doing it up here. So now I have my green stem. Perfect. That's going to work out great. Okay, I'm going to put it away and we're going to get ready to make our emoji flower. And if you don't want to stick the stem on and just have a plain emoji, you can, or you can make it an emoji puppet if you don't want to call it a flower. That's up to you. But this might help somebody have a good day. All right, this is the tricky part. We're going to take our scissors. Remember that your fingers go on the bottom, your thumb goes on the top. We hold the paper and we're not going to let it drop. And we're going to take some cuts. Now we're going to take the scissors and we're just going to cut. So see, it's not a big cut. Can you see that? It's not a big cut. It's kind of a small cut. And then we're just going to go a little tiny ways. There's a cut right here. We're just going to go a little tiny ways and do another cut. So we have a little piece that's like that big. Okay, we're going to leave it and then we're going to do another one. And we're going to go all the way around. Look at these little pieces. Can you see that? We've got a little piece here and a little piece here and a little piece here. They're kind of small and we're going to keep going all the way around. We want to make sure if we do it right next to it, look what might happen. If we do a cut that's right by it, it's so little, it might fall out. So we've got to make sure that we have a big space on those, don't we? Can you see that kind of big space? We want kind of big spaces, okay? So let's keep cutting. And we're going to keep going all the way around this plate. And they're not cutting into the emoji. We're just cutting around the edge. But we're not cutting super, super close. We cut right here. We're not going to cut right here next to it. We're going to go a little farther, aren't we? And we're just going to keep doing cuts all the way around. Open and shut. Open and shut. This is the way we cut, cut, cut. Fingers on the bottom. Thumb is on the top. Oh, look, right at the end. Hold the paper. Don't let it drop. Open and shut. Open and shut. This is the way we cut, cut, cut. Now, do we cut things besides paper? Do we make sure that it's okay with our caregiver or our mom or whoever's helping us? Do we make sure before we cut something that we ask first? Because we don't want to cut things that don't need to be cut. Like, we're not going to cut our clothes or our hair. Those aren't things that children cut. Those are things that hair cutters cut or clothes makers cut. Children don't do that. So we want to make sure we never do that, because that wouldn't be a good idea. All right, now we're going to take our lots and lots of yarn, and we're going to take a little piece of it. And you might need a little bit of help from your caregiver. We're going to tie a knot right in the end of it. So can you see that little knot right there? It's kind of hard to see. Can you see that? I'm going to do another knot, and we're going to do it in the same place. So now we have kind of a big knot, and this is going to help us. The other thing we're going to need is a little bit of tape. So if you can find some tape, we're going to need it. And we're going to take this little piece, and we're going to stick it right through there. So I've got the piece on the back with the little knot on it. And then I've got the long piece in the front. And I'm going to take some tape on the back. Get a little piece of tape, and we're going to tape this down. Now the knot is going to help it not slide all the way through, because if we pull on it and it comes all the way out, it's not going to work. We want it to hold on there. And now it's right inside of one of those places we cut. And we're going to go straight down from where we cut, and we're going to go through another cut. Now we're starting to turn the plate yellow. We're going to bring it right back up, and right next to where we put it, we're going to find another cut and go through the other cut. And then we're going to come down. Look, we're going to make an X. Can you X over it? To the next cut. And then we're going to come back up right by where we went. We're going to come back through, and then we're going to come down here, and we'll make another X. Oh, look at all those X's right in the middle of his face. Okay, we're going to come back up. Now it takes a little work to get it to go through, so be very patient with yourself. It might take a few minutes. And you know what? If you don't make a perfect X, that's okay too. Sometimes it kind of just goes across, and that's all right. We're going to go back up to where it is cut, and we're going to keep going over the middle. That's the easiest, because we're going to make our emoji one, and we're going to come back up right next to where we went out, and we're going to go through, and we're going to cross over the middle down to the next. Do you see how we're taking all these cuts and we're going to right into the very next one? Now we're going to come up. This was the last one, so the next one is right here. And then we're going to come back across and go right through again, right next to it. Now the next place we're going to bring it is the next cut. So pull it a little bit, find the next cut, and we're going to come right up here, right down through the next one. And then look down here. We're going to go right through that next one. Now look up here. There's the next cut. Bring it up through that one. Oh, let's go down to the next one. We're going to keep going through. Find the next one and go through. Find the next one and go through. And if it starts getting a little bit hard, you can ask for a little bit of help. All right, I have some extra string. So you know what I'm going to do? In the back, I'm just going to take it and I'm going to get another piece of tape. And I've got this long string in the back, and I'm going to put some tape on it so it won't fall out. And then I've got this long piece of string. I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut it right off, just like that, okay? Now look at that. We have a yellow emoji made out of yarn. And is that a happy one? Now, it also is an emoji flower. So we've got right here our green stem. And you know what? We're going to have to put some glue on our stem. So get your glue stick out. And we're going to put some glue on it. And we're going to stick it right up inside, right up underneath, right inside of there, and stick it on and hold it. Because we don't want it, we've got to hold it for a few minutes. So keep holding and holding. And then we've got to give it a minute to dry. So while it's drying, I'm going to read you another story about Alexander. Now, Alexander had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Look at his face. Is he having a very, very bad day? So if you're still working on your yellow yarn emoji flower, you can listen to the story. If you're already done, you can still listen to the story. This story was written by Judith Forst, and it was illustrated by Ray Cruz. Let's see what they have to tell us about a very bad day. Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. All right, let's see how his day started. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there is gum in my hair. And when I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Oh, it didn't start very good, did it? At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box. And Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window too. I said I was scrunched. I said I was smushed. I said if I don't get a seat by the window, I'm going to be car sick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Oh, do you ever have days like that? At school, Mrs. Dickens liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off and the cone part and lands in Australia. He is having a very bad day. Is he being very kind? There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunch. And Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on the top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. That's what it was, because right after school, my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week, and I said, Doctor. Fields. Next week, I said, I am going to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door caught my foot. And while we were watching and waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started to cry because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. And while I was punching Nick for saying I was a crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and for fighting. I'm having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I told everybody, but nobody answered. So, when we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers, Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the shoe man said, we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at the office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as could be, except for my elbow. He also said, don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. Oh, there was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes, my marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. When I went to bed, Nick took the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burned out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It had been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are just like that. Even in Australia. Do you ever have days like Alexander where everything just seems like it goes wrong? Do you think if you had a day like that and somebody gave you a smiling emoji, it would help you feel a little better and you would feel like you had a good friend? I hope so. You know what? You could make your emoji or your flower any way you want to make it. Any way you want. I think you did a great job with yours. You know what? If you're not quite finished, that's okay, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to sing the emoji song, and we're going to sing about feelings, because our feelings sometimes are happy and sometimes they're sad. Ready? I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. And so I look like this. I am angry. I am angry. I am angry, and so I look like this. I am silly. I am silly. I am silly, and so I look like this. I am smoochy. I am smoochy. I am smoochy, and so I look like this. I am happy. I am happy. I am happy, and so I look like this. Oh, you look great when you're happy. And you know what? It's okay sometimes to be angry as long as you don't hurt someone else. It's okay to be silly because that makes other people happy. Sometimes you get so silly your mom says stop being silly, huh? But that's okay. And being smoochy, if you're smoochy and you give your mom or your caregiver a big kiss, I'll bet they would like that too. All right, it's almost time for us to go today. You have done a fantastic job. But before we go, remember we were talking about letter Y? Do you remember that? Let's see if you can find a letter Y. Do you think that you can? Let's try and see. U, P, L, T, oh, so good. G, good. D, O, B, Z, I, M, S, N, A, H, Q. This is a tricky one, isn't it? Y, we found it. Good job. You know what? It says to yell and then yawn. So we're going to yell, then we're going to yawn, and then we're going to be done. You ready? Ah! Oh. You are amazing, and I had fun being with you today. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. You're awesome, possum. See you soon.